I actually wanted to just quickly touch on this subject. I don't think I'll talk too long since it's not something I have a huge opinion about, but I want to give a little bit of background information. Basically, I've talked about my radical feminist writing teacher. That was my teacher last term, and some things she said. And one thing that isn't necessarily a feminist talking point, that's more of like a social justice talking point, is the idea of identifying someone's gender, or not gender, sorry, race, when you're talking about them. And quite simply, what I mean is saying, oh, well, my black friend did this, my white friend did this, my Asian friend did this, using their race when you're talking about them to identify who they are. Not identify them as a person or anything like that, just identify who they are. Already, most people know that there isn't really a problem in this, although some people are sensitive to this topic. And my radfem teacher decided to explain it as, we see it as abnormal, as not normal, as like you're not the in group, and I put that in quotations, when you refer to, or you're referring to someone as my black friend. That means they're not the in group, they're not normal, there's something abnormal about them, and therefore it is being racist. I entirely disagree with that sentiment because of why we actually do that. We do that to technically point out the abnormal, but abnormal in the fact of the normal definition of normality, where it is like statistically normal to happen. Basically, the most likely thing to happen is the norm. So in a country like our country is majority white, there's a lot of other races and they make up a pretty decent size of the population, but the majority is white. So odds are someone is white. If you look at it statistically, if you were to like randomly pick an individual, completely random odds, statistics or probability is they're white. That means they're normal. And when you're referring to someone in a social situation, you're basing it off of what's normal to your social group, essentially. For me, I don't have a lot of black friends. To be completely honest, I have some, but it's more common that I have white friends or some other race, but majority white. Therefore, it is most likely that I would say my black friend did this. This is my black friend. The same thing goes for one of my friends who is he's gay. Statistically, you're more likely to be straight than gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay, but whenever I talk about him, I usually say my gay friend because I'm identifying him by that thing about him. I'm not saying anything about who he is as a person. I'm not saying he's any lesser. I'm just simply saying my gay friend to point out that it is something you wouldn't expect from the individual based on purely on statistics, nothing on oppression or prejudicing someone. The same thing would go, though, for someone who lives in a black neighborhood, who has mainly black friends. If they had a white friend, they would say, oh, my white friend, something, something, and then finish the story. It's based off of majority or statistical probability. It is not based off of racial tensions, racial stereotypes, or racial just plain racism. It's not based off of that. It's simply based off of what is the statistical norm. I just kind of wanted to touch on this subject. It's something I've been thinking about. I thought it'd make for kind of a quick video that wouldn't really offend anyone because I'm not, talking... Sorry about that. I'm not talking about anything offensive. I'm just, pointing out a social justice idea that I'm pointing out why it's not quite correct. It's not supposed to be offensive. That's about it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And be sure to have a nice day.